Hey, you guys, welcome to The Core. I am your host, Arinda, hairstylist and life coach, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host and friend, the lovely Miss Kahara, licensed marriage and family therapist.
Hey y'all.
Woo, today we have a show
Today.
for you guys.
Yeah.
With all of this dating and these hot topics, and everybody
Yes.
is on these apps and everybody is
Yes.
on social media. What is going on with this
What's going on?
topic?
Yes. I'm excited about it too. We're going to talk about love bombing today.
Yes.
And I'm especially excited to hear your perspective about this. Because actually love bombing, the idea of that was introduced to me by a client. And when we're thinking about this this idea, it comes from narcissists mostly.
Yes.
But when I studied narcissism in school, this wasn't even a terminology that we use.
Wow.
So I'm excited to talk about it and get into it. I'm sure I'm going to learn some things about it today too.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So it was not even brought, the love bombing is new.
Exactly.
Ah.
Exactly. The behavior is not new, but the terminology.
Oh,
is
the
new.
terminology.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's a branch of stalking is what it is. And people early on, it's when it happens very early on when you first meet somebody.
Yeah.
You know, they are very, very aggressive. They want to buy you everything. You know, they want to spend a lot of time with you.
Yeah.
It's just really, really intense. And the more intense the love bombing goes, the more intense it is for you to try to get away from them as well. Because that same person is the same person in the end trying to keep you locked in, because there's a reason why they're so intense towards you. It's not you.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know you yet. She
Yeah.
doesn't even know you yet.
Wow.
Why is she so locked into you?
Right. So when we're talking about what love bombing means, what we're saying is that a person is basically showering you with affections
And attention.
and attention in order to let your guards down so that they can bring you closer or
Absolutely.
perceive closer. So
Absolutely.
they can then manipulate or exploit you.
There we
right?
go.
Okay.
There we go. And the more close they are to you, the more intense it is. It's like a whirlwind. So that's what sweeps you off your feet.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like they lock in, and it's so much flooding you
Yeah.
that you relinquish your will. You if you don't know yourself, or you don't take time, because they will rush you. They're trying to push past your boundaries. They're forcing you to fold your way and take on this new image,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
new image.
Interesting. The way that I have seen it presented with my clients is, especially with this online dating stuff right now, they are meeting people who are basically saying all the things that they want to hear. They're either giving them a lot of compliments. They are buying them things,
Right.
certainly, and they're doing all these things to appear to be the perfect partner.
Exactly.
And so what I'm noticing is that my clients are getting wrapped up, men and women actually are getting wrapped up in this kind of like hurricane system,
Right.
of showering of affections.
Yeah.
And then when it goes wrong, they're confused.
Right. There's no relief.
Yeah.
Like you said, a hurricane, there's no relief during that season.
Yeah.
Things are just coming at you, coming at you, coming at you.
Yeah.
And that's how intense they want it to be. They don't want you to have any room
Yeah.
to think.
Wow.
They don't want you to have any room to even see the red flags.
Wow.
Imagine how fast things are going by you in a hurricane.
Sure.
You
right.
can't even hear. It's like you can't even hear God
Yes.
because He's trying to speak, but everything is so fast.
Right. Right. I love
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
I love that.
And then that dopamine and all of the hormones that they're conjuring up when they start to devalue you, which comes shortly after.
Yeah.
You can't even understand, like, where did he go?
Yeah.
Or where did she go?
Right.
But
Right.
God forbid you have sex with them
Yeah.
too early.
Yeah.
Or during that phase. They're done with you. They're done
So they
with you.
discard you if you have sex with them while they're in the midst of, or are they trying to do it to get you to have sex, or
They
do
are
whatever
trying
they
to do
want?
it to get you to have sex.
Interesting.
Yeah, and once I'm saying, especially with the male narcissist, once he gets a woman to submit,
Yeah.
he's won. The battle is done. He can go do whatever he wants, and she's gonna call. She's gonna turn into what he did first. It's gonna be like she's pursuing it now. She's gonna pursue love bombing him. Now she's trying to keep this cycle going. She's trying to keep this feeling going.
Right.
And it's done.
What you're saying to me, it reminds me of this two cycles actually. First of all, the abuse cycle, right? The abuse cycle clinically, what it says is that there is this kind of honeymoon period. Then there's the buildup, and then the blow up, and then the making of amends, and then the honeymoon period. During the honeymoon period, it looks very much like love bombing. You're saying all of these things. I have a client actually right now. She's in a marriage with a person who is a narcissist, and he'll say things like, so when are we going to have babies? He starts talking about all of the dreams that she has and all the things that she wants to do, and she gets locked into that until the abuse happens, and then she wants to get out, and she's panicked and she's confused, and then he does the cycle all over again. And so the unfortunate thing for her is because she has seen him in the honeymoon and the love bombing phase, she's so convinced that he's not the bad guy that he is when he's abusive, that she can't get out of the situation.
Yes, because you believe that who they are in the love bombing phase is who they really are.
Exactly.
But it's not.
Right.
Who they are during the devaluing and discard phase, that's who they really are.
Wow.
That's why they only can do the love bomb for a few months.
Sure.
They can't continue to do that.
Wow.
But for the rest of the relationship is the other,
chasing it.
and the love bombing, it happens in cycles. So right when they know that you're done with them or that you're thinking about leaving, they can feel it's like a demonic intel. They can tell when you're on your way out. You're almost done with them.
Yeah.
Then they go right back to the love bombing. And then you're like, there he is.
Right.
There she is.
Exactly.
Right back in, hooked in. It's like a bait, like the bait.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. It also kind of reminds me of the drug addiction cycle too, right? Like this idea of chasing the high, the original high, and never getting there and realizing the amount of deterioration that's happening emotionally, physically, mentally, and still wanting and craving that high.
Any toxic relationship with anything.
Yeah.
Any person, anything.
Yeah.
People who do the same thing over and over again, some people, I mean, whatever their weakness is, most of the time when they're in the middle of that, they feel horrible. Or at the end of it. They might feel good and euphoric.
Right.
At the end of it, as soon as it's done,
Yeah.
they're sick about it. They're sitting on the end of the bed. They're like, I told myself I would never do this again. Or the high, like, Lord, if you let me get through this, I'll never do it again.
Yes.
To go right back to doing it again, to feel the same thing. Is any toxic relationship with anyone or anything, it always has that cycle.
Yeah. Have you ever had any experience with love bombing before?
Yeah, actually, you know, being in a relationship with, you know, my ex, that's exactly what happened to me. In the early stages, first of all, he saw my picture on Facebook and decided that we were going to be married.
I did not know that he saw you on Facebook.
He saw me on Facebook. That wasn't where I originally met him. I met him at a fundraiser.
Yeah.
But I hadn't talked to him in years.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't give him my number when I originally met him because he was in a relationship. And I honored his relationship in spite of what he wanted to do. Okay? So he saw me again on Facebook, told me that he said I was going to be his wife. And that's the idealization.
Yes.
Like you see me and I'm already your wife. You don't know me.
Wow.
Right? And then from there, when we started to talk, he wanted to drive me around, wanted to be with me 24/7. He wanted to do everything. He called me 1,000,000 times a day. Text me 1,000,000 times a day. I'm like, I had never been flooded like that. I've been love bombed before.
Yeah.
Now that I look back on it.
Yeah.
But not to that degree.
Wow.
At all.
Sure.
It was almost like he could not even buy food without calling me.
Wow.
Yeah, and it went on through our marriage. It went on through our marriage up until to the very end. But clients, I'll be working on clients. They're like, can we please talk to you?
Wow.
Can we please talk to you? Because he's
Wow.
calling, he's FaceTiming, he's calling, he's texting, he's calling, FaceTime popping up, eating here, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
You know, and then would get upset if I was taking time to talk to my clients and didn't talk to him.
It's interesting that you say that because as a client of yours, and we were just talking about this off camera, but I remember seeing you guys have those conversations, and I used to think that you guys were really in love. Like you sounded very, you're always polite and loving.
Yeah.
So I could hear that on the other side, and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. They check in all the time. They can't be without each other.
Yeah.
And so I thought that it was beautiful.
Yeah,
you know?
it wasn't me checking in though.
Yeah.
Because this is ministry for me.
Yeah.
Hair is ministry for me.
Sure.
So I would come here, and honestly, it was good to get some relief.
Yeah.
And I would come here, and I wanted to be available for you guys to
Yeah.
be able to talk to me and run this is therapy for people.
Of course.
So
Right.
he and I would have issues, major issues, because he would want me to sit on the phone with him while I'm working on people. No respect for what I do, no respect for the ministry of it, no respect for my clients and their needs. These people have been coming to me for years. We're friends. We love each other. Like, I need to be here for them,
Right.
you know?
Of course.
But he didn't have any respect for that. And so he blew me up all day, every day, up until the tail end. And it wasn't cool.
You know what I wonder, as I'm saying that I thought that you guys were a happy couple because of that. I wonder if that at some point you felt that at first before it started to feel like obsessive or excessive, you know. I wonder if people feel like that in that moment. It's
You
like,
do.
oh, they must
Yes.
must love me, right? I don't know. Was that
I
your
think, yeah,
experience?
absolutely. Because during the first few months,
Yeah.
you are showered with attention and affection, showered with it. And if you come from not having it,
Yes.
you know, you are totally blown away.
Right.
And I look back like, how did I fall for this?
Right.
This is so textbook.
Right.
How did I fall for this?
Right.
But it was because I had never felt affection like
Yeah.
that. I had never gotten attention. Like, you get attention from people,
Yeah.
but not combined with affection and gift giving and phone calls and compliments and this and that. And then the answers to any of the problems he thinks that you have. This guy put me on his medical insurance in 2 weeks.
Wow.
2
Wow.
weeks.
So it must
He
be
asked me
serious.
what it must be serious, and he's providing security for me.
Right.
He asked me what my biggest bill was. My biggest bill outside of my rent at the time, my car was paid off, was my health insurance.
And yeah,
So I was like, my health insurance.
Yeah.
And so, yep, the next date, insurance card.
wow. When did it turn? Like, what did you notice in terms of when you realized that you were being love bombed?
I'll tell you this, I felt uncomfortable
Yeah.
from the very beginning.
Got it. Yeah.
I felt very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But society, and as I spoke of before, Black families, or I feel like maybe not just Black families,
Yeah.
families gaslight their daughters.
Sure.
And I was so comfortable with my own space and comfortable with being by myself. Now, whether that was based on trauma, childhood trauma, I don't know. But I felt very comfortable and content with where I was. And so this man doing all of this stuff, I'm supposed to like it.
Right.
I'm supposed to like it. I'm supposed to feel like, oh my God, he's taking care of me.
Yeah.
He's showing me that he can take care of me, and
Right.
you know, he loves me, and
Right.
girl, you are not so fabulous where this man who barely even knows you is already doing all this stuff. It's not even about you. There is something in him. There is a deficit in him.
Sure.
There is something that he is trying to overwhelm you
Yeah.
in one way. Basically, like my grandmother used to say, don't piss on me and tell me it's raining.
Sure.
But throw you something and you look this way, but it's really something coming this way.
Yeah.
What are we avoiding here? Why are you flooding me with all this surface stuff?
Yeah, sure.
What are you
sure.
trying to not show me?
Yes.
But people look at it like he's showing you his heart.
Yeah.
And then my ex has a public servant uniform.
Yes.
So he also looks like a hero.
Right.
And so we believe that what he does for a living means that his heart is in the right place.
Absolutely.
So that company, because people always say, Ren, you gave us all the answers, you this, that. How did you fall for this? And I'm like, boy, oh boy, baby, the enemy knew who to send. If you like chocolate, he ain't going to send you vanilla.
Right.
He going to send you exactly what you, that's why he's going to send you exactly what it is you like.
Yeah.
And what you are not showing other people that your deficit.
Yeah.
Where's your void?
Right.
You know, and so I'm wandering around, you know, thinking I'm doing something, raise my son on my own, working, and not addressing that I do have trauma from childhood.
Sure.
I do have, you know, there are wounds inside that need to be repaired and addressed.
Yeah. Right.
So I was covering them up, I guess.
Yeah.
And God was like, no, baby. When you come into my presence, I want the truth. I want it all uprooted so that I can do a new thing with you.
Interesting.
So I look at this as, thank God, because I wouldn't even be in a position to be here speaking to people or speaking to women about it if it didn't happen to me.
Right. Right.
And it happened to me intensely. It was no joke. There was something else. Oh, vacations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wanting to go on vacations early on.
Yeah.
And the end of our relationship, he was doing that to somebody else. See, I was in the discard phase. I was in the devaluing and discarding. But now he's on vacation with other women.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, because they're in the love bombing phase. They can never be in the same phase with two people at the same time.
Interesting perspective. Wow.
They can have multiple people, but they'll all be in a different place.
Yeah. You know, as you're saying all of this, I'm thinking about my experiences, my personal experiences with it. And I have an experience with a cousin of mine, actually. It's a female cousin. And when we were little, she used to love bomb me. She used to say, you're my favorite cousin. I love being with you. Please let me spend the night with you. Like, you know, things like that. She'd want to come over and she'd want to, you know, go out with me and my friends and do all these things. And I would be like, okay, you know, we're close, we're cool. And then she would come and then she would be rejecting. She would say things like, she would get mad at me for no reason. She would basically discard me in the function of a week, you know?
Wow.
And so I think sometimes we think that love bombing, it's a long-term process and it only happens romantically. It doesn't, you know? So I'm even thinking about that with a relative and also with a personal relationship of mine too. It was a romantic relationship for my husband. And what I noticed was there was this inconsistency of being really, really close and really, really loved on and praised and showered with compliments and affection and wanting to be together all the time. And then absence and silence.
Yeah.
Right.
Then the ghosting.
Exactly. And so what that felt like for me was what I discovered about myself is that security is a value of mine, a value system of mine. I need that. And I remember having conversations about what I really needed was consistency. And that was the opposite of what I was getting because it was this really intense love and then it was this really intense abandonment.
Yeah.
Right? And so I didn't realize it was love bombing until years later when my client told me that this term, and now you're talking about it now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my cousin did that to me. I was in relationships like that.
It happens with parents.
Right.
It happens with parents. It happens with bosses. It happens with coworkers. Yeah. Any toxic relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if people take their time to really examine their relationships, they'll see it
Yeah.
They'll see it because there's a lot of people that use that manipulation.
And I think that us saying that we've experienced it, what that says to me is that it can happen to anybody, right? Like I'm even at the time, I'm a trained professional experiencing this kind of love bombing behavior with the partner. You know, I think that what that means is that it's not necessarily about us or our qualifications or not being able to see it.
Right.
It can feel so compelling, and it can feel so desirable. Even when you're talking about yours, there's an element of, oh, how romantic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And so we get wrapped up, like you're saying, with society telling us what we should want and what it should feel like. And then it just ends up feeling bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even for me, like I said early on, it didn't feel comforting. It wasn't until I was listening to people.
Yeah.
And like you said, like clients like, oh, that's so sweet.
Right.
Oh, that's so this, that. And I'm like,
Right.
it is?
Yeah.
It feels like too much.
Right.
Well, Rand, you just don't like being, you just don't know. And then
It must be you.
It was always me.
Sure.
Always.
Yeah.
I don't care who was talking about our situation.
Right.
It was always me.
Right.
And when he would talk about it, he would say, you just like being by yourself. This is what people do. This is what relationships look like. This is what, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, God, it really, I'm supposed to feel like I am being covered.
Right.
But I feel like I'm being smothered.
That's a bar.
I felt
Covered,
like-
not smothered.
I felt like, and I would
Wow.
say that to
Yeah.
him. I feel like it's smothering though. Oh, that's just me. It was just me. And so people say, how did you get to 11 years
Yeah.
with him?
Yeah.
Oh, baby. It was
Wow.
hard. I'm so grateful
Yeah.
to have my mind because the intensity of that obsession, that early obsession, and like you said, it makes you feel somewhat flattered.
Yeah.
But
first.
imagine the people that really do believe in the Cinderella and
Right.
the Sleeping Beauty stories, and women, we grow up seeing stories like that.
Absolutely.
So they're looking for somebody to ride up on the white horse and save them.
Right. It's so funny because my experience was the same. The person that I was dating told me that I was unemotional. Right. I just wasn't emotional. I wasn't romantic. And my little Aquarius moon, that be true a little bit. You know,
I've heard that.
But that's what I heard. And so I thought, oh my gosh, it must be me. I must just not be receptive to it, or something was wrong. And so I realized that it can be really, it can be tricky sometimes to see the truth, you know.
Yeah.
What would you say is the way that a person gets out of a love bombing situation?
I feel like the most empowered person gets out during the love bomb. Because when you get out during a discard, an argument,
Yeah.
or a devaluing time, when you leave and they come back and love bomb you,
Yeah.
you get reeled back in. But when you realize that you are in that toxic cycle,
Right.
like I left during the love bomb.
Wow. Wow.
I wanted it to be made clear
Yeah.
there is nothing that you can do
Right.
to ever get me back on that hook.
Right.
We are done.
Right.
It is over.
Yes.
There's no need for anything. So all of the stuff during the 11 years where we need to go to counseling, we need to do this, we need to laying hands on him, trying to cast demons out, praying, putting oil on his pillow, hoping that he's going to wake up. Girl, just everything that you could possibly do
Right.
to try to get someone to be who they said they were,
Right. Right.
who they said they were.
Exactly.
I didn't come up with this fairy tale.
Yes.
This is what you came and sold me.
Right. Right.
But all of the effort that I had to go through to try to get him back to who he said he was,
Yeah.
that's where people get tripped up.
Yeah.
Because who they said they were was the love bomb. Who they really are is the discard and devaluing person. They're the abuser. That's who they are.
Exactly.
So when the love bombing rolls around, I don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
I've seen your hand.
Right.
I've seen your hand.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can do. You can't shower me with anything.
Right.
Any bracelet you would get me would be a handcuff to me.
Absolutely.
And it's a no.
Absolutely.
So-
It's an entrapment. They're
Yeah,
trying to
that's
trap you in
exactly
that.
what it
Yes.
is.
Yes.
And so, no.
Yeah.
So the most empowered person is when I'm talking about that one can recognize is really done with this person is when they're done during the love bomb. When people say they're done during a devaluing or discard, they're going to need some support, through that stage because they're
Yes.
going to come back around and try to get you back.
Oh, yes. Right.
They're going to come back around.
Absolutely.
See, I didn't want the Hoover. The Hoover means they suck you back in when they come back around. The stalking, the let me get back to love bombing. Oh my God, I'm sorry. No, really, this time.
Yeah.
This time, I really got it this time.
Right.
I didn't want that.
Absolutely.
So no matter the videos he sent me,
Yeah.
the letters his friends brought me,
Right.
the phone calls, the this, the that, I was not moved.
Yes.
I didn't even look at them.
Sure. Sure.
I didn't even look at them.
I wonder if that was some of the key to being able to break away from that, right? It's
For me,
to create a little bit of a block so that you could resist it, kind of.
well,
What do you think?
I wouldn't have gone back anyway. I was done.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
Enough had been done to me, enough damage. I love myself.
Yeah.
I am not here to be someone's wife, someone's punching bag. I am here for a purpose that the good Lord, my divine creator, decided for me to be here. And I'm not giving anybody else any power over me or over what he has purposed me to do.
I love it.
So I was done.
Yeah.
But for anybody else, they definitely, it's so tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky.
It is really, really, really
very
tricky.
tricky.
All I could say is like they really need to get some support. They need to look at all the videos they can on narcissism. Understand that this person's love is not based off of the love that they have,
Yes.
that you have.
Yes.
It's not based off of what you feel. It's not the
Yes.
same kind of love.
Right.
That's
Right.
why it's so obsessive.
Yes.
That's why it's so impulsive.
Right.
Because it's not from compassion. It's not from empathy. It's from their ego. They have to hurry up and lock you in for something to help them get high off of too. It's a supply for them.
Sure.
It's a
because then
supply-
they can be the good person. Because look at all these romantic things they're doing.
And they
right?
will remind you of it.
Absolutely.
They will remind you of it. Look, you're
Absolutely.
ungrateful.
Right.
You look at you.
Right.
And then you're like, well, what am I doing? I mean, I've had clients, scrolling through messages and trying to see, like, what did I say? What did I do? He's ghosted me. When did you have sex with him?
Sure.
You had sex with him the first night?
Wow. Right.
You had sex with him the first weekend?
Yeah.
You just met this person.
Right. Yeah.
So no, he doesn't feel, because he already knows he's inadequate. He already knows he's a clown.
Yeah.
He knows the truth about himself.
Right.
He just doesn't want you to know the truth about him.
Right.
So he already knows that he has to put up all of these material things.
Yes.
Once you grab him, he knows it's not because you know him. It's because of these things that I've given you. So now he's really angry at you because you don't even know me.
You don't
And
like me.
You don't like
You like
me.
the things that I'm doing for you.
Exactly.
I love that.
That's exactly
I'm
it.
taking that in and I'm digesting that because I didn't even think of it
Yeah,
that way.
he hasn't even had to show you anything.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
That's you know what I'm thinking too as you're saying all of this, because some people will ask what how to tell if they're in a love bombing situation. And what I'm thinking about is what you're saying is we need to see that this is a part of who they are long term, right? Like we need to see their ability to be consistent over time.
Right.
And to be the loving person that they present themselves as over time.
Yes.
And people might not be able to tell if they're being love bombed until the cycle completes, right? Until they see that there is abuse on the other end of it, right? What do you think about how people can know if they're being love bombed?
Well, I think a major thing, people need to go slow.
Yeah. Ooh,
If
that's
someone is rushing you, you are probably being set up. You You are being set up for this toxic cycle.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Right.
Do not relinquish your boundaries no matter what.
Yeah.
Anybody that really wants to be with you, they will be able to sustain.
Yeah.
And I hear women all the time like, no man is not going to, stay if you don't give him some and this and that. Well, guess what? That's not your man.
Sure.
Unless you're toxic and you want to stay in the cycle.
Sure. Right.
But you should have your boundaries clear. You should know I didn't have sex within the first week and all that stuff, but I still went through what I went through.
Yeah.
And it's no game.
Yeah.
So if you're giving it up early on, you really haven't, you have to be patient. You really haven't you don't even know yourself. And then that's what they look at. Like, I thought you were cute. I thought you were this.
Right.
I thought you were that. And you just give it up. He's not flattered because you're dealing with a very insecure person.
Right.
The most insecure person on the planet.
Sure. Yes.
And so he doesn't feel qualified enough to even show you him how dirty he is. The truth about him, which is why he's being so fake.
Yeah.
And fraudulent and counterfeit and charming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he is looking at you and he's blown away because of your attributes. And so now you relinquish your whole soul to him and open yourself up, and you think that this clown is going to be able to identify you. He can't. He's never going to see you after that moment.
Wow.
You have just reduced yourself. You have just played yourself. You have just sold yourself to this trash.
Yeah.
Is what you did.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know that he doesn't even feel like he deserved you in the first place. So that's why he put the things up that he thought you would like.
Right.
Because he knew him alone did not deserve you.
Yes.
Bingo.
You know what I also hear you saying as you're telling your story is first of all, the thing that's coming up for me is if it's too good to be true, it probably is. But there also is this element of something inside of you, something intuitively told you that this didn't feel right, right? And I think even in my love bombing situations, I proceeded cautiously because I was like, this feels intense. It doesn't feel real, but I'm just going to wait and find out, you know? And so I think that there is something about love bombing where we inherently feel like something feels unnatural or fake or fraudulent, like you said. And if we just give ourselves permission to slow down enough to intuit that and to hear what our gut's saying, that might go a really long way in us getting out of the cycle and avoiding the cycle altogether, actually.
Yeah, and your body, like you said, your body responds to the truth.
Yeah.
Your body, it's really your spirit.
Yeah.
You have the Holy Spirit that's alive in you. Now, there are people that have the Spirit that they have not activated.
Yeah.
But we who have the Holy Spirit, it's alive and it's all knowing. It's God inside of us.
Right.
So it's all knowing.
Yeah.
During planning a wedding, so got engaged in 2 months.
Wow.
Proposed in 2 months.
Wow.
We connected on Thanksgiving. Got engaged on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Got married on that Labor Day.
Wow.
But during that planning of that wedding, I was so sick. My stomach was hurting. Like I was in my 30s and needed a colonoscopy and an endoscopy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, your gut literally knew.
My gut literally knew.
Wow.
Went to the GI doctor.
Yeah.
And he did a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. And I just knew it was something.
Wow.
It couldn't be that it was nothing. I was in intense pain.
Oh, my goodness.
In intense pain. My body was alarming me.
Wow.
My body was saying no.
Right.
No, it's a no.
Wow.
And I'm moving forward because I'm paying attention to the pain and not the reason why I'm in pain. I'm like, well, maybe I'm just stressed because I'm planning the wedding and then I'm working and, my finances, everything's going towards the wedding and,
Yeah.
And so that's
legitimate.
The future faking.
Yeah.
That I told you about before is another thing that happens during the love bomb. So they tell you like, hey, it's
Let's have kids.
Yeah,
with my
we're gonna
client.
have kids.
Right.
You know, it's the month of March, but in December, will you go with me to my company Christmas party? And you're like, yeah.
Right.
So now here we are, this date in December you're trying to get to.
Right.
Me, I got engaged on Valentine's Day. Now I'm planning a wedding for Labor Day.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying attention to anything but that day.
Absolutely.
So all of the red flags that were from Valentine's Day to Labor Day
You missed it.
were hot pink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were, weren't
Right.
red. They weren't
Wow.
red enough
Right.
because I should have never been there on Labor Day, not with him.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is just a part of they like you said, kids, whatever, because what they do is they mirror you. So they listen.
Yes.
They're great
know what you
listeners.
want.
That's another deception during the love bombing. They will listen and listen and listen and look at you dead in your eyes. They're so intentional about getting your information.
Right.
They barely tell anything about them. They may tell something that's like public knowledge or public that they know you'll run into a cousin of theirs or somebody on the street will tell you about them, but you don't ever really get to that heart. You don't ever really get to the root.
Yeah.
And he'll know everything about you or whatever he thinks, whatever you tell him,
Right.
or vice versa, she,
the
you
intel.
know.
Yeah, of
because there's not
course.
just male narcissists. There's a lot of female, and they are
Absolutely.
no joke too.
Right, absolutely.
But-
especially because women narcissists are, we have a different level of like emotional understanding.
Absolutely.
Right? Biologically predisposed
Yes,
to that.
very, very
And so they know
very
how to exploit
calculated.
it. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And so, what they do is when you first connect with them, they start to just flood you with stuff that you have told them that you don't have. Or if you come from a traumatic childhood, they'll want to be the father. If you have father issues, they want to be your father. So they'll do things that show you like, I can father you. Anything that they mirror you back on you.
Yeah, whatever
Whatever
they hear
you think
need.
you need. If you wanted kids, if you're like 40 and, you never had any children, they'll be, we need to have our baby be so beautiful
Right.
and this and that,
Right.
And you don't even know that this fool is not even thinking about. Or if he does have a child with you, it's only to hook you so that he can then move on. Look at what he's done with his other baby mamas.
Good point. Good point.
Why is he even with you?
Right.
What
Sure.
happened to them?
Sure. Good point.
They were
Yeah.
able to give birth to his beautiful children.
Right. Right.
What's going on with their relationship?
That's a really great point. Yeah.
It switched.
Yeah.
And then to see the trail, speaking of that, to see the trail of brokenness, carnage and damage that they leave. And the way that they have no respect for the women before you. It's like, what makes you think that you're so different?
And maybe then a way for us to know if we are being love bombed is the history of their relationships, right? Like what they say about their past relationships, and how those started and ended potentially.
Yes.
Maybe that gives some insight and some indication about their ability to sustain this positive, who they present themselves to be at the beginning, right? Because if they're that great, as great as they are in the love bombing phase, they should have lots of friends. They should have good relationships. They should have the ability to have like, good co-parent relationships, things like that.
Yes. But they always say that their ex is crazy.
Yes.
Everybody's crazy but them.
Yeah, interesting.
Everybody's crazy but them. And then they will tell you stories of their ex, how they provided for them. And I did this and I did that and I did that and she did this and she did that, or he did this and he did that. And they'll tell you all of this stuff that would make you mad at their ex too.
Absolutely. And make you feel different because you're not
You're
any
not
of
like
that.
that.
Yes.
My ex would tell me that there's no woman in the world like me.
Wow. Wow.
He used to say, you don't talk about your friends. Like, there's nobody like you.
Wow.
And I'm sure the other ones, there was nobody like them either.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you can give about recovery from a love bomb situation?
after completely getting rid of the relationship,
Yeah.
they need to definitely get counseling. You have to get some help. You have to get some relief.
Yeah.
Because depending on how long you've been in the relationship, but I mean, I know people that have been in relationships going through this for 20, 30 years.
That's devastating.
It is really hard on your mind. It's hard on your soul.
Yeah.
And so therapy, God can heal any and everything.
Absolutely.
And he was there the whole time watching what was going on.
Right.
Because he clearly told me to tell my ex, woke me up at 1 o'clock in the morning and said, text him. He wasn't even there. Where he was, I don't know. Text him and tell him that he thinks because you don't see what he's doing, that I don't see what he's doing. Tell him that I see everything and he needs to repent.
Wow.
So God is there the whole time. He was there with me the whole time. But God is so amazing. He's so intentional that he stopped talking to me. He stopped talking to me. And I was like, God, like, where are you? I'm miserable.
Right.
I'm so hurt. Like, this is killing me.
Yeah.
I'm imploding. I can't get dressed. I have black circles around my eyes. I'm getting rashes. What's going on? My vibrance is gone.
Yeah.
My joy is gone.
Yeah.
Like, where are you, Lord? Like, and I remember it switched because I would be asking God to deliver him, save him, let him have a move of God, like slay him in the spirit, like just let him come to terms with who he is as a man.
Yes.
Let him rise up on the inside. Let him know you.
Yes.
And then it switched, and God was like, "I'm not talking to you.
Wow.
You don't have the right." You're not in the right lane.
Sure.
And God is intentional whether he's speaking to you or he's not speaking to you.
Yeah.
When he's not speaking to you, he's still speaking to you.
Interesting.
He is still speaking to you.
Interesting. Wow.
Because God is always intentional. Nothing catches him off guard.
Yeah.
And he is watching, not only is he watching you, he is watching that abuser who thinks that there's no God.
Right.
Who thinks that they are God.
Right. Right.
Who doesn't think that there's a
Right.
consequence for the things that they're doing.
Right.
And the manipulation and these tactics that they have used on multiple people.
Yeah.
You got a body count.
Yeah. It's a good point.
You got a body count.
It's a great point.
You're going to have to answer
Yeah.
to what you do. So anybody that has been in that type of relationship, because the love bombing is the high of it.
Yep. It's intoxicating.
But as intense as it is, that's how low you go.
Yes.
In the devaluing and discard.
Yes.
Exactly. That's the pain.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Then
what I would say is to heal and to recover is to lean on your consistent people, right? Like not just consistent friends, but the relationships around you that are consistent, so that it helps to recalibrate your understanding of what relationships are supposed to feel like, right? Because I wonder, going through that cycle, that roller coaster, you almost have to get reoriented again,
big time.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
time. That is the
right.
word right there.
Yeah.
Reoriented.
Yeah.
That is major. That's it. That's it. And God, so the relationships for me, I was by myself healing, and that was wonderful and beneficial. But God had my male cousins rise up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lift
like,
you up.
it's amazing that my male cousins,
Yeah.
they are kings.
Yes. Yes.
They're kings.
Right.
They rose up and treated me like royalty. I wasn't around them every day, but God called me to 2 family reunions, stuff that I had not been doing because they like to isolate you from your family and friends because they don't want you giving other people attention.
Right. Right.
You are only their supply.
Yes.
So
Yes.
whether I'm at the salon laughing and talking when I answer the phone, there's a problem. If I'm ministering to people at the salon, there's a problem.
Sure.
If I'm going to a family reunion and it's 300 people, there's a problem.
Yes.
If I'm giving him a party,
Yes.
for his stuff, his promotions, his this, and I'm giving him a party and I'm around the party being the hostess of the party, there's a problem.
Interesting.
It's going to always be a problem if you're not glued right there, the clutch for him, and whatever job duties he gives you. There's always going to be a problem. But my male cousins, God put me in a position to be around them. One goes to church with me, and he's phenomenal. I love him.
Yes.
He's I just have some really great male cousins, and God had them, and my brothers, just men. I'm saying men in my family. They came to my rescue.
Yeah, I love
as
that.
far as like letting me see that they're good men.
Yes.
My dad, my uncles, everybody, my cousins, is just men.
Right.
God decided to illuminate them.
Yes.
And let me see them.
Yes.
Like, no, Ren, we know who you are.
Yes.
We're sorry that you're not tripping for going through that.
Right.
And it makes me look at the fact that when I was going through it, I should have been talking to my male cousins. I shouldn't have been talking to the females.
Sure.
Because then they're projecting their insecurities on me.
Yeah.
And now I've always been different.
Yes.
Always been set apart.
Yeah.
Never needed a man, not validated by it at all.
Sure.
So I should have always been talking to my male cousins.
Yeah.
But I needed to go through this
Yeah.
so that it could give birth to this new season. And I'm so, so grateful for it because of this platform and what we're doing. We're so effective to other people, men and women.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to get support, like you said. And sometimes it's not the people that you think. For me, it wasn't the people that I thought.
Right.
Right. Because those people can't really understand.
Absolutely.
And my male cousins weren't saying like, he's a narcissist, do.
Right.
They were just like reminding me of who I am.
Ooh, I love that.
They were reminding. God used their voice to tell me. I could read you some text messages. I will off camera.
Yes.
From some of my cousins that just, the Holy Spirit just gives them something to say to me. Cousin, you are a queen.
Wow.
I hope to meet a woman like you.
Wow. And they know you.
And that's
know
me.
Permanent. That's long lasting.
Exactly.
It's consistent. Exactly.
So just constantly reminding and good affirmations and praying and dilute.
Yes.
Dilute that stuff out of you. Dilute that toxicity
that.
out of you. If you have, too much of alcohol, you drink water.
Right.
Just dilute yourself.
Yes.
And flood yourself with the word of God. And when you know what he has purposed you to be and who he has created you to be, and not only that, the sacrifices that were made for us, that God saw fit. Mankind has always let him down.
Yes, sure.
Since creation.
Sure.
We have always let God down, and he never gives up on us.
I love
He's
that.
always there's always been a plan of action in place to save us.
Yes.
To save us and to deliver
we
us.
will
So
recover.
if people just flood themselves with the word, God will tell you who he created you to be, how he feels about you. And he said you are royalty. And when you know that, you will not allow these toxic people to attach themselves, because they're attaching themselves to you.
Right.
They're the parasites.
Right.
But they make you
Flooding
feel like
ourselves
you
with
need them.
love.
They make you
Yeah.
feel like you're attached to them.
Right.
But really they're attached to you, because they're the ones without a source
Yes.
feel like, oh my gosh, depleted and dead.
Yes.
We know who our source is.
Right.
And we're always attached to him from what he did.
I love that.
From what he did. It's not about our action.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your testimony with me. I feel like not only have I learned what love bombing looks like, but I have learned my own situation and how to get through it, recover through it. So thank you so much for sharing.
And I
Really
think that
helpful.
I just want everybody to be free, you guys.
Yes, it's possible.
Yeah,
It's
it is possible.
Yeah.
I'm an example.
Yes, good testimony.
Yes, thank you. I love
Thank you
you.
so much for sharing. I love you. Bye.
Bye, guys.